Strap in, it's planner talk time. Whee! Hi, Sarah here. Welcome back. My pronouns are she, her, and this is going to be another planner notebook paper talk video. I just love the feeling of paper and writing in paper and crinkling paper. It's like that scene in Ratatouille where Colette is crinkling the baguette for Linguini and Remy to hear. Oh, you hear the crackle? These are experiments that I've been doing and I've been trying, and I just hope that you can see it as inspiration for you to take and adapt in your own way. So let me show you what worked, what didn't work throughout my 2025 planners, and a bit of setup in my 2026 planner as well. Also, below this video, I'll have a pinned comment that has links to people who need your help in the world right now. So if you have the funds, consider sharing some funds, some wealth with people who need those funds. Okay, here's 2025. Here's 2026. I mean, one of the two books. Nowadays, my setup is very, very minimal. I only carry around with me the notebook itself, my fountain pens, and my pencil boards. I don't carry around stickers or washi tape with me anymore because I just find that this minimal setup is what I use most consistently. So this notebook is Plans by Just Scribble. Just Scribble is a small person designer. 2026 is the second year that she is printing and designing planners. And she's expanded her lineup for this upcoming year to have a lot more sizes and options besides just the A6 and the A5. What I used last year and what I'm continuing to use this year is what's called the A5 Vertical Weekly. A5 is the size of the paper, and Vertical Weekly means that there are pages for the weekly spreads that are in vertical format, compared to like horizontal weeklies, where the horizontal days are listed out in horizontal format. And then previously, in 2024, I used the Hobonichi Techo in the A6 size. I'm no longer a Hobonichi fan, and I'll explain more why throughout this video. The A5 Vertical Weekly from Just Scribble comes in a 2-book format because there are just so many pages that it would be hard to fit them all in one single book. This was the first time that I've used a 2-book format, and surprisingly, it did not bother me at all. I actually really liked the refresh in the middle of the year, moving to a new book. I don't feel baggaged. I don't feel held down by all of the previous pages from the first half of the year. She does have other notebook options that are like just the dailies without the extra weekly or monthly pages, or just the monthly and weeklies without daily pages. So quick overview, here's the Just Scribble A5 Vertical Weekly. The way that the pages are distributed and interspersed throughout the book really works the best for my brain. First, we have the yearly overview pages. For example, a future log kind of page, year at a glance, index or tracker, goal pages if you want to use it that way, or you could just use it for whatever other kinds of boxes you want to use it for. I love this planner for all of the extra pages that it has. Some people might feel daunted by just how many pages there are. I love it because it's so much room to play with. For example, with the quarterly goals page, I used it more to track lists that I randomly thought of. And it doesn't bother me if I'm really keeping up with these lists or if I've forgotten some things. I'm just having these lists because I want to put them somewhere. And so this is a place to put them. Continuing with these quarterly pages, we have month trackers. This year, they're horizontal so that you don't have to flip your book and track them vertically like before. Quarterly trackers again. We have calendar and blank page here. And then we move to the month pages. So January, like opening page, January month layout, blank pages, and then immediately to January week 1. I'm so surprised that more planners don't do this. Many other planners will have January through December monthly layouts first, and then they'll have all the January through December weekly layouts next, and then all the daily pages are stacked at the back of the book. But this way works so much better for my brain. I just want to go through the book linearly without having to flip back and forth. So week 1, and then blank page again on the side, and then all the daily pages right away. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 days a week. And then to week 2. And then again, dailies, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7 days a week. And then week 3, and then we continue on, and then we get to the end of the month, we have a recap page, and then February starts. So again, moving through the book in linear fashion, this works so much better for my brain. Again, why don't more planners do this? Then at the end, you have like a quarter recap page, and then moving on to quarter 2. And then at the back, these blank pages for literally whatever you want. I actually like ripping out these pages and using them as like little swatch pages or just writing letters to friends. Like I'm not going to use them for any other purpose, right? So ripping them out, totally fine with me. Previously, I used a Hobonichi Techo. If you've never heard of Hobonichi, I'll briefly explain. Hobonichi is a Japanese planner brand. It is a lot of people's gateway to Japanese planners and Asian planners. What really makes them stand out from like Western planners is, first of all, the thin paper, like Tomoe River paper, or there's other similarly thin papers in planners that I don't know the names of. Hobonichi or Techo, one of these words, translates more to like life book. So rather than using this only as a planner, you can use this to document anything that you want in your life. So it could be drawings, it could be language practice, could be stickers, could be junk journaling. This page-a-day format is also really appealing to a lot of people. Renaming it from planner to Techo or life book expands the connotation from just task-based to anything that you want. It's anything that you want it to be. It's a life book. I'm not a fan of Hobonichi anymore because I don't like how all the months are stacked at the beginning of the book. It really bothers me to be in like September of the year and working through these September daily pages and then having to flip back to the beginning of the book. I just didn't even use the monthly pages of this because it's so bulky at the beginning of the book. I also don't care for these extra little quotes at the bottom of the book anymore. I know that that is something very personal to Hobonichi and it adds charm, but it's extra space that I just want to use for myself to actually do my own stuff. Also, these planners have like a timetable on the side. I know many people will use daily pages to write their tasks, but for me, I really like the open-ended pages of the Just Scribble planner. There is nothing on this page. It is all completely blank. No guidelines, no nothing. Related to structure, something else I had tried before for many years was custom journaling. The YouTube buzzword for it is bullet journaling, but it is so far from writer Carroll's definition or idea of bullet journaling because this is way more drawing and designing than what he ever intended. So this is more accurately called custom planner, really. You take a blank notebook, a grid or a dot grid or whatever, and you draw out the layouts on the pages that you want. So I want a month layout on one page, so I'll draw it myself. I'll divide out the pages however I want. I had tried a weekly overview at the top and then the weekly tasks at the bottom, and that worked really well. The wonderful thing about this custom planner is that you can draw everything the way that you want because you're manually drawing and planning it out yourself. This past couple years, I craved a planner that already had stuff drawn out, which is why I went to the Hobonichi Techo. Really, really loved it. And now I've like upgraded in a sense to a bigger book, which is this A5 size. So now I don't have to draw out my month layouts and my week layouts every day, every week. Now it's already pre-printed, but again, it's open enough that I can do anything I want. And for people who feel daunted by this big blank page, I do too as well, sometimes I will go and draw out these dividers onto the page at the beginning of the week or the month or whatever. Feel like it's more containable, like I have little spots to write in on and I don't have to fill up the entire page. Drawing these boxes out, sectioning the pages like so. Sometimes I can write like tasks on one side and then just paragraphs on the other, or maybe I'll add on stickers or pet tape or washi tape into elements of the page so that it just breaks up the blank pageness. And I don't do this every time, which I think is another thing that people with ADHD and stuff might struggle with. I will clarify what ADHD is if you've never heard of it or if you're not sure if you have it or not. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. The first D could also stand for dysregulation because it's not really a deficit like you don't have enough attention. It's more like attention is hard to regulate. You can't just focus or stay attached to things on command. Sometimes the focus is just not focusing. The attention cells are going all over the place. The wonderful thing about planners and this analog stuff is that this is your own planner. This is your life. You do whatever you want to do. You gotta just do whatever works for your brain. If you're the type of person who gets bored with things, you can lean into that. You don't need to pressure yourself to do the same consistent layout every single day or every single week. Some weeks or some days I write a lot or I plan a lot, and other weeks I just don't. Some days, some weeks I feel like drawing. Actually, for the past half of the year, I've only been journaling a lot in this. First half of the year, it was all like tasks and ideas and bullet points like this. But now, the past few months, I've been enjoying long-form journaling much more. It's funny because a couple of years ago, seeing my friend Katie journal like this in her journal, I was like, oh, I could never write that much every single day. It seems like a lot of work. But now I am a long-form journaler almost every single day. Most of the time, I never really look back at any of this. And that's the key thing with all of my writing as well. Whenever people look through my planner, people usually say, oh, your planner looks so good. I wish mine looked like this. Or I wish I journaled this much too. Stop it. Don't. You do not have to be like this. Your lifestyle is different from mine. The way your brain organizes and processes and plans is much different from mine. I journal this much because it helps me think clearly. It helps me offload all the things in my brain. All this stuff in my brain is like repeating over and over again. Things I did, things I want to do, things I need to do later on, things I watched, things I thought about. For me, journaling is my way of processing all of that out loud. slowing it down and really unknotting everything, because everything in my brain is so abstract and I will forget everything. So that's why these pages, being as open-ended as they are and being as like wonderful to write on as they are as well, the paper is so satisfying, it really, really works for my brain. But it's such a different experience from back in the beginning of the year, the first half of the year, when I was really into bullet points and lists and things like that. I was really into watercoloring as well. I got into watercolor starting in March, and it was so exciting to start watercoloring my pages because I was fearing the look of the blank page. So having this watercolor at the beginning of the week, adding this onto the page, one, it was a way of like meditating and processing through stuff and having some fun free time. And two, again, it was a way of just expressing myself and having color on the page. For this book, this second half of the year, I didn't do watercolor at all because I got kind of tired of how crinkly these pages are. But I can totally have a different outlet for these kind of watercolor pages. For example, a junk journal like this, where I can watercolor like packaging paper like this, and then put it into my junk journal like this. Yeah, I did also start a junk journal last year, which I kind of fell off the wagon of in March, and now I'm starting one again this year. Yeah, all that will be in another video. What watercolor was really helpful for was getting used to integrating more color into my book. March, which also the time that I started getting into fountain pens. So fountain pens are my go-to writing instrument now. I don't even carry around like markers and gel pens or other highlighters or anything with me because my fountain pens will do everything for me. I can change out the inks once every month or once every other week if I really feel like it, but there is actually more consistency and less like decisions needed in picking up a pen and writing with it for the day. With having like all the colors of the rainbow of gel pens and markers, it's like, okay, now I need to use this marker in the specific color to do this and that. I need to choose colors according to certain themes. But with the fountain pen, it's like, I'll just have a couple of pens that have very broad nibs I'll use for headings, and then the other pens are just used for everyday writing. Less decisions I have to make when I pick up any pen that I want to write with. And I guess seeing the same ink being used over and over is pretty satisfying as well. Another thing that I tried, time tracking. Let's talk about that. So in the first half of the year, I didn't know how to use these weekly spreads. I know people have used this to write their schedules of the day or what they did for the day. But for me, I don't reference the weekly page enough that having the schedule written out beforehand would do any good for me. What I have done, and I've been a little bit more consistent with, is tracking what I did for the day. And this was really important in July, August, because I hit a depressive rut then. And I learned about this thing called behavior activation. This is the theory or the explanation of behavior activation. When we feel blah, we are likely to just become less active, then we'll feel sadder and more blah. Then we'll isolate some more, and then we feel depressed. This is the natural spiraling down. But instead of waiting for us to feel better, we have to actually schedule in activities and things that will make us feel better. Instead of waiting until we feel like it, you have to act first. Use the behavior to activate your mood. So you feel blah, and then you become more active. We'll start feeling okay because you've been active. Then you'll be more social because you feel more okay. And then you'll feel good because we're actively engaging with all that stuff. A tip that I saw was to start tracking the things that you did and how long they took. More importantly, the mood that you were in before or after that activity. And you might see how you might have one kind of mood, but then the more that you start doing stuff, your mood might change. It was a really great reminder that I will not feel blah as long as I continue to do stuff. And even if I do something and I feel a little bit worse, it's okay because there are other activities throughout the day where I might feel better. So it's cool to remember that moods may change and shift throughout the whole day. The mood that I'm in currently is not going to be the mood for the whole rest of my life. It can definitely feel like that with ADHD and our very brief working memory. In the past couple of months, I haven't needed to track the individual activities anymore. It got really tedious. I'm now trying out tracking time in chunks instead. So for me, my morning time, I work night shift, so I wake up at 1 or 2 p.m. My morning time is like 2 to 6 p.m. My afternoon time, my second chunk of the day is like 6 to 10 p.m. My evening is like 10 to 3 a.m. It's like my general night-ish time. But again, this is an example of how some things can work for us at some points, and then we take what we've learned from them, what works, and we apply that to a new kind of experiment, something that might work for us better in the future. And I've seen comments where people are like, I wish I could accurately tell how much time something is going to take. Like, I don't want to be budgeting 2 hours for a 30-minute task, but why not? Then you can have the rest of the 2 hours to kind of take your time with finishing up that task or having some free time before the next task. I don't think there needs to be any like really strict rules about a 30-minute task should actually take 30 minutes. Sometimes I will finish a task in like 15 minutes if I'm really, really feeling it. And on the days that I just have lower energy or whatever, Maybe a 30-minute task will take 2 hours. And you know what? That's okay. I understand the rest of my schedule. I understand what needs to be done. I feel in my heart and in my body what needs to be done. And that feeling is more important than writing down a plan and then expecting myself to stick to that plan. That's the other thing with people with not great working memory. We will write things down with the idea that we are going to do them, but planning and daydreaming is a very different set of skills and outlet and mode than the doing phase. Planning is like you're sitting here, you're letting your mind wander, you're like kind of puzzling things out. Doing it, you're actually in the middle of all that stuff. You're seeing exactly how long things are taking, you're seeing how tired you are, the actual work and energy things take. And so of course it makes sense that the plans might not always match up with what you're actually doing. It's okay to have these different modes. You have your planning, your daydreaming mode, then you have your doing, your working mode. Both are really important to have. If you're feeling tired from not having enough time in the day, you probably need more of this like planning and or daydreaming and imagining mode. Let your mind rest instead of trying to puzzle out like the most important things to do to maximize your day. Related to the topic of transitions, another important concept that I learned sometime in the past year is the concept of interstitial journaling. Interstitial journaling, which I learned from writer Carol, who invented the bullet journal method, it's when you are transitioning from one task or context to another. So what was I doing here? I was getting into my routine of something. So I wanted to write down something to get out my thoughts and mentally prep myself for whatever I was doing in this chunk of time. It was helpful for me to journal about whatever my thoughts were to kind of like offload my brain so then I can come to exercise class with a clean slate without all these extra thoughts ping-ponging around my brain. Now, 6:15, I've checked in. Exercise class done. I also wrote about whatever else I did because, again, offloading stuff off my brain. Now I'm dumping out some tasks that I want to do to extract them and to clarify them onto paper. 8:20 p.m., I checked in after doing some more work and wrote around some thoughts. 11:08, checked in again. 2:18, checked in again. For me, this was the real joy of using my notebook. This notebook became a reliable place for me to check in and puzzle everything out. Happy, sad, good, bad, neutral thoughts, any thoughts, random stray thoughts, repeating thoughts. This was the place for me to draw everything out, to write everything down. I don't write in my journal or my diary like this so I can read it back. I never do because it is so much and I just do not care. I journal about this for the moment. I journal it out so that my brain in the moment can rest without all this extra baggage ping-ponging around and popping up back then. Like, remember to do this. Don't forget to do that. Oh, look at this. Remember what we did then? Oh my God, it's all here so I can just write it down and then forget about it. Allow myself to forget about it. But for writer Carol, how he explained interstitial journaling, I don't remember when I first learned about it. He actually does it more bullet journal style. So you actually write down tasks and notes and bullet points in that way. It's easier for me to journal out in paragraphs like this than writing everything into bullet points like such. And with the concept of transitions, it does take time and perhaps effort for us to transition from one context or one mode to the other. I learned about this through the ThoughtSpot video channel. She talks a lot about these neurodivergent things and ways to work with your brain instead of against it, and also just ways to love yourself and accept yourself. She explains transitions as like a marathon runner or a sprinter. When you're slowing down to a stop, you don't not go from whatever fast sprinting speed is to an immediate stop. You have to slow down first, and then you will come to a stop. Transitions is the same way. If you're deep in flow state and you're like really, really deep into like this work project or this game, it's gonna be hard to transition immediately to like bedtime or like, okay, I gotta go out and go with my friend now. You have to budget in time, 10 minutes or even 30 minutes or even an hour for you to slow down and wind down from the intense flow state that you were in or the previous context, and then start getting ready for the next context that you're gonna be in. So for me, writing all this out, checking in constantly with my planner, this is, again, not just for the fun of it, but it's because it's really functional for me. It helps me get out thoughts and ideas from the previous context and then get in thoughts and ideas for the next context. One more thing I'll talk about here is blank pages. A lot of people will fear these blank pages in these dated planners, but consider this. If you cover up whatever printed on the page, now it's a blank page for you to do literally whatever you want with it. If you ignore all the stuff that's already printed on it, you can repurpose it for however you want. So for me, when I leave blank pages, I know that I can just turn back to them and either draw on them, draw more watercolor, or I can use them as video ideas. All these bookmarks that I have here are pages that were blank as I was using the planner day by day, but then I've gone back and used them for anything else. So for example, video ideas. This is the Hanged One video script that I have clearly been working on since July, and I'm still not ready to film it, and that's okay. Lots of other video ideas here. video idea here, video idea here. This is the journal video that I'm filming right now. Video ideas here, and so on and so forth. I can also use these blank pages for overflow. I noted this down that this is December 8th in case I ever wanted to look back at it, but again, I don't really look at it. It just feels satisfying to write down the dates and these details even if I never reference them again. Lastly, I'll share with you my daily journaling check-in. At the beginning of the week, I'll draw out these dividers onto the week tracker so that I can section out my chunks of time this way. I write down big projects or tasks, places I need to go, errands to do on each day here. Here's my quick med tracker to make sure that I'm taking my meds and my vitamins every day. The blank page for the week, I've stopped writing down headings like tasks or to do because I don't need to write to do to know that I'm going to be wanting to do these things. So not writing headings actually has opened up the pages even more for me. This is a brief list of holiday movies that I thought I was going to get into, but after watching one Hallmark movie, I remembered how boring they are for me, so I gave up on the others. A list of food in the week so that I can remember what we have in the fridge and make sure that I'm eating them all in a timely manner. What I want to do for each day, ongoing task list maybe. And then I'll open to the day page. Then I'll write down the time and then journal out literally whatever comes to mind. I learned about this practice from the Artist's Way book that I've never actually read. I only know of the morning pages. First thing in the morning, take some time to write out the stream of consciousness. And the important thing about this is not that you write anything super important, but more that you're literally just writing stream of consciousness. Dear diary, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write, blah, 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 blah. You are continuing to write and engage your hand until something does come into mind that you feel like writing out. Clearing out your brain, giving it like a blank slate for the rest of the day. So I apply that idea to my long form journaling. And some people are afraid or hesitant to get into fountain pens because they're like, oh, I don't have nice writing. Look, you do not have to have nice writing to just enjoy the feel of writing with a fountain pen. Look at this. You think that's nice writing? It's just scribble scrabble. But you can also just draw with fountain pens. You're just liking the feel more than any other writing instrument. You could write with like a paintbrush, you know? People express themselves through paintbrushes too. Sometimes these pre-drawn boxes on the page help me feel like I have a section to write in, but sometimes I just override the boxes and write until I feel like I'm done. I used to have a separate diary for journaling out thoughts, but having this planner and journal all in one makes more sense for my brain. As I'm writing, I may also go back to other pages and write down tasks that I remember, then go back to continue journaling, and then go back to whatever else. So I'm really ping-ponging throughout the book, however makes sense for my brain. And again, I just don't care to read these all like after the fact. I'm really just writing for the moment. And for this monthly layout page, I have used it for tracking energy levels or moods, especially for titrating my ADHD meds. What I'm trying now is drawing out little summaries of what I did that day. So this is a drawing of me actually filming right now. Yesterday, I played Against the Storm, the game, for a few hours. I could not really draw it, so I did write out some stuff. Wednesday was Hot Pot, seeing our friends' cats with little shaved spots on their legs. This was the Rose Parade floats, and other things like that. And then this number at the bottom is my overall mood or energy for the day. And the key here is not to make every day feel super great. It's more to track which days feel low and to just be okay with them when they happen. So that's my loosey-goosey journal planner recap. I'm just happy that you're here vibing with me. I'd like to do another video explaining other journals that I have tried and not finished, including this junk journal. I also want to make a video explaining the appeal and technicalities of fountain pens, not to make anyone want to buy it, but more just to explain how they're interesting. Let me know if either of those interests you more. So that's that. Make good choices, and remember to connect with your people and your community around you. Thanks for watching. Bye.